Maybe. All right, here we go. We're live again. Live again. So we're basically went live because it didn't look like we were actually streaming live, and we think it may be because we played the Whitney Houston national anthem, even though we gave credit to her. Um,
Yeah,
so
because it's a copyrighted thing, and last time we played it, same thing
yeah,
happened. So we're thinking that's what happened. We've been no longer playing the Whitney Houston
yeah.
thing,
As
and it
much as
says
we love
here.
it, and we think that it should be, public property, so everyone can because everyone loves it. So
Yeah, I wonder if we
we're not
can
trying to make
buy
money
that.
off of it. That's the thing.
No,
We're not trying to make
yeah,
money off of it. So
yeah. So
can't
hopefully we'll
post
get some more
comments.
people on here again, and we'll try it again. Nobody's on yet,
Yeah.
so
Well, maybe it's just going to be a
uh,
dud day. Who knows? We should have
yeah,
done it last night, I
we had
guess.
three people right off the bat, and then we fucked it up. Okay, so we're gonna. That's something we learn, and we'll get better at it. I'm
Screwed
sorry
the
that I f
pooch.
bomb, but there's nobody on anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, somebody will be
Uh,
listening to it later. So
okay, if anybody gets on, let us know.
otherwise, we're just talking to each other like what we normally do. So
All
it's
right,
all good.
Dulcie, can you hear us now? Because she just said hi again, but that was on the last one, I think. Um, testing your feed. So that was the last one that you put. You put testing your feed in, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right. Nobody's watching. We are still sucking.
Article 4, Section
Article,
2.2.
go ahead.
A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice and be found in another state shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. So basically, if you commit a crime in California and you flee to Arizona,
They're going to send you back to California.
but what's interesting is California has to request it. So that's interesting too.
Hey, Tim Smith is on.
Hey, Tim Smith. Welcome, Tim Smith.
Yeah, Tim. So just so you know, we had a little problem, and we can't play the Whitney Houston anymore. Star
No
Spangled
more
Banner
Whitney Houston.
because both times we did it, we got cut off. They don't even tell us. We're still playing. We're still talking, and all of a sudden we can't hear anybody. We had 3 people on to begin
Hey,
with, and then we lost them.
Tim
So,
just
hey,
posted. What's new and
what's
exciting
new exciting
about
about the
the
Slow
Slow
County
County
election?
election
We're
results?
almost
We're
to
going to
that,
get to
Tim.
that. Yeah. Yep.
We wanted to start out with Happy Veterans Day to everybody.
Yep.
I don't know if that got through on the first one, but it's getting through now.
Well,
So
we got through. They'll be able to listen to it, but for some reason we couldn't do the live streaming anymore. But basically, we are very grateful and thankful for all of our veterans that serve our United States of America.
yes, and we are on Article 4 in the Constitution. What are we on? 2.3?
Um.
Wayne Thayer commented
Yes.
on our video, says here. Joe
Yes. We're
Palanza's
on.
back on again. Thanks, Joe. Sorry
All right.
about the mistake.
Yep.
We will.
It's all my
try to
brother's
figure it
fault. He
out.
wanted to see the or hear the Whitney Houston national anthem.
Well, you know what Wayne did? Wayne commented on the first one. Let me.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, go ahead and read 2.3, and I'll try to
All
get a
right,
hold
two
of Wayne.
three. So Article 4, Section 2.3. No person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping. No, we read this one already.
Oh,
No,
that's right. That was the extradition one. Yeah.
yeah. Actually, this is different. So no person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. I think
Oh,
that
okay.
has to do with slave labor. So
I
I'm
think
just
it
saying.
probably does.
So
Yeah.
what's interesting, and a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but what's interesting is when the founders of our nation were writing the Constitution of the United States, they're trying to figure out how to write something that will keep all the 13 colonies together and united as a nation. And
Right.
the southern colonies were very much into slavery, and the northern colonies were like trying to eliminate slavery. But had they actually written in there no slavery was allowed, then the southern colonies would not have joined the constitutions and the articles of the new
Right.
constitution. So
Right.
that was their way to try to appease them with the idea that eventually they're going to outlaw slavery in the United States of America. and it took a civil war to make that happen. But that was because the members of the northern states were basically saying, "Look, enough is enough, and we need to start saying that all men are free, like it says in their original founding documents. And whether you're a slave or a free man, you're all free. You have the right to freedom in the United States of America." So yes, we had a rough start, but their plan and intention was to get us on track and keep us together as a nation, which really should be something that we should be talking about now. As divided a nation as we are, um, we should be really thinking more about we are Americans versus liberals and conservatives, or left versus right, or whatever you want to call it.
It seems to
To
me
say that,
like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, and right now the far left and the far right are getting the oil, because they're the ones screaming the loudest. That's what it feels like to me. I just saw here that it says the Constitution was written in 1788. When did they abolish slavery? 1840 something, I think it was.
we can always look it up.
Now look it up. I'll read section 331. New states may be admitted by Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of legislation of the states concerned, as well of Congress. Let's see. It says Wayne Thayer commented. I don't see him though.
Yeah.
I don't see him. I think he's still on the old one.
How is he?
I don't know. That's all I'm thinking. So basically, you can't to make a new state. You're gonna have to go to Congress. You can't like take someone's territory, and you can't have like Rhode Island, Connecticut form a state without Congress saying it's okay.
Right.
3.2. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be so construed as to prejudice any claims of the United States or of any particular state.
All right. So just to jump back to slavery there for a minute. So it looks like I don't know why they do that. It's ridiculous. So it looks like the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime.
1865, Joe Palazzo says.
Yeah, so it started in January 31st of 1865, and it completed the 36 states. So it was ratified by the required 27 of the 36 states on December 6, 1865.
There we go.
And proclaimed on December 18th. So December 18th was 1965. That was when they completed it. It took them a whole year.
1865. Yeah.
Yeah, 1865. Yeah. Did I say 1965?
You did.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a couple years after I was born. Maybe that's why I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that was always their intention, and they did it the way that the Constitution was set up. They ratified it. They amended the Constitution with the 3/4 of the majority of the states agreeing with it, and obviously you had 27 of the 36 states on December 6th ratified it. So you have basically 9 states that were saying no. So that's the beginning of the Civil War. They were like, screw you, we're not going to allow you to take away our slaves. And then they did something else, which I don't know if we've covered this yet, but I think it was in Article 2, where we talked about the that the only Congress can create monetary value, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the Confederate States started making their own money.
Yes.
That was another thing. They're violating the Constitution.
That was kind of where the Civil War was started, was because of that.
Right.
And actually,
And
slavery wasn't part of the beginning of the Civil War. That came in later, and basically Lincoln had to decide once he got there. Look, is this going to be part of it or not? And because he had to tussle with, if it is part of it, then we understand we're going to lose some people on that side that don't want to fight for the Civil War because they're going to lose their slaves. But if it is part of it that we're going to do away with slavery, then we're going to have, then that's just the better thing to do. And he had to fight with it, and he chose the right way, obviously. So,
Right.
anyways,
So
Section
yeah,
4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. So it's up to the government to protect the states from invasion,
invasion. Wow,
right in the
imagine that.
Constitution.
So
Right
if you're
in the
not
Constitution.
upholding the Constitution like you swore an oath to, then wouldn't that be a treasonous act?
I'm not sure if it falls under treason. And then you have to, what does the word is mean? What does invasion mean? Invasion, does that mean
Yeah, there you go.
an army comes over? Is that the invasion, or is it we just don't stop anybody from coming across the border? That's an invasion. So then there'd be that. You'd have to figure that out. But
Yeah, and there'd
anyways,
be
that's
arguments with
Article
that the
4.
whole time. Yeah. So
Article 4. That's that on that. And now we can start talking about our election.
talking about
Let's
the
see.
election.
This should be good. That's all I got to say.
What is the status on the Arizona election? So
They were going to dump some ballots in tonight, but there's still going to be a bunch more that has to come. I just saw that on the news before we got on. There's basically, but before that, they're basically where they were 2 days ago. Nothing has changed.
that's ridiculous.
And it's me and my brother talk about this, and it is a shame that this is the way it is, but that's their state laws. We don't want a federal law for voting rights. We don't want that. So this is their
Right.
law. I'm hoping that there are Democrats and Republicans there making sure that all of ballots are counted. I would hope that this is the way it goes after the last election, that nobody's getting anything tomfoolery done there. And and until we see something going on, I'm gonna say this is just the way it is. Now, are these people stupid running it this way? Absolutely. They're stupid running this way.
Well, what's interesting is Tucker Carlson had something the other day. I don't remember the whole thing, but he was talking about how they spent like $30 million revamping their voter system to make it, more streamlined and stuff. They spent more money revamping their voter system in the last year than they spent building the Hoover Dam, based on the current dollar amount, what it would have cost to build the Hoover Dam. And it's like, and this is the results they get. Like, wow.
Well,
So
what I've listened to is it's not so much the voter system, it's their regulations and their voter laws, because basically you can get your ballot and you can walk it in day of election and put it in the ballot box. Now they
Right.
have to verify your signature, and those and they said there was what they say 700% more of those this time
Right.
than last election. So
Right.
they weren't ready for this. So that's another thing they should.
Well, that was one
tweak
thing,
next
but the other thing that they were also doing was the only ballots that they printed out were the ones that they mailed to the voters, right?
right.
And they were if somebody came into the voting booth to vote, they had to print a ballot for them then, and they didn't have enough ink. They ran out of ink in a lot
That
of
was
these
the
places.
beginning of it.
It's like,
Yeah.
this is asinine. It's
But-
like, so you can't provide yourself with enough ink to print ballots when people come in to vote? I mean, how stupid can you be? So yeah.
I mean, but that's not causing the delay, because all those ballots are already counted. What's causing the delay is the people who brought ballots in, they already filled out and turned them in, because they
Right, but
they have to
people
go
that-
through the process.
People that wanted to vote couldn't get a ballot because they couldn't print one out.
No, they all
So
got
you-
to vote.
There
Was nobody that didn't vote that wanted to vote. That's the way I've heard it. Nobody was turned away. No, we're done voting. You can't vote. That didn't happen.
Well, they were turned away and told to go to other places. When they went to other precincts, they're like, no, you have to go back to your other precinct and vote, or turn in your mail-in ballot, right? Because I mean, I experienced the same thing in California. I was at a customer's house the day of the voting, and the woman's son was going to vote, right? But she had his ballot right on in their house, right? And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
so if he goes to vote, his vote doesn't count. She goes, what do you mean? I go, it will be a provisional ballot, and the only way that they'll count the provisional ballot is if
As if
the
it's a
race is
close.
close.
Right.
So if the race isn't close, then the ballot doesn't count. And it's like, so then she actually found the mail-in ballot and was going to tell her son, and she herself was filling it out so she could go walk it into a precinct and drop it off. But
Yeah.
it's just, and the great state of California, in their infinite wisdom, they decided that everyone's going to get a mail-in ballot, whether
Yeah.
you request it or not. They
And
switched
and
everyone to a
that's
mail-in ballot.
ridiculous. There's too much stuff that can go on when you do shit like that. There really is.
Right.
And of course,
Yeah.
California doesn't care. California is they don't care. They're lawless. You
Right.
can go shit in the street. You can do whatever you want. They don't care. They just don't
Oh,
care.
you don't want to go down that road. I'm just saying.
Well, then
Yes.
the other thing where I was going. The other place I was going where two guys are on the street in broad daylight doing the thing that they do, and then you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, they take videos of this stuff, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
nobody stops them. It's crazy.
yeah, 10
Anyways,
years
I
ago, if
digress.
somebody did
Oh.
that in the street, they would be arrested and taken to an insane asylum. But
Just saying.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing you don't want to be
Yeah.
talking about.
Not in
So, but yeah,
California. No, you can't do that.
yeah.
Where I was
So-
going somewhere where I got dragged off my train of thought, but
Talking about Arizona electoral process voting.
Well-
everyone's voting.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna come out. It's gonna take days. Hopefully, like I said, there's enough people on both sides making sure that nothing happens. And here's what I say: it doesn't matter what happens now because whoever wins, the loser's going to claim foul because of this. It doesn't
Right.
matter which one; they're going
Right.
to claim foul because of this. Which
Well,
should make Arizona say, "Hey, we can't do this anymore."
Right.
But-
Right. Well, I'm looking at current standings right now with Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs. So there's Katie Hobbs has 1,057,288 votes. She's got 50.7%, and Carrie Lake has 1,027,561 votes, which is 49%. But they're predicting that the Maricopa County has over 400,000 uncounted votes.
There's 700,000 uncounted votes total. 400,000 of them are in Maricopa County. Yeah, that's what.
So
I heard.
they're predicting that Maricopa County is going to be like a 75% turnout for Carrie Lake versus
Yeah,
Katie Hobbs.
and that's all. That's all going to come out. We'll find that out. That's all prediction. We know how that worked out so far. George Bennett and Beth Smayer on now. So good to
All
see
right.
you guys.
Welcome.
Yeah. So the polls were pretty close this time. There were still a few mistakes, and it looks to me like there's not going to be a big red wave, which people were thinking. And in my mind, that's a good thing. I think that, well, it's a good thing if each side listens to what the people are saying. In my mind, nobody wants this far left woke bullshit, but also nobody wants the election denier bullshit either. So they came together, and this
Just
is where
trying to
we're
get
at.
me going, aren't you?
Fucking A right, brother.
So my brother and I had this conversation the other day, and I'm like, okay, so okay, you want to talk about election denier? What is an election denier? And go ahead and say what your
An election
definition of
denier is
election
someone
denier
who says that Trump won the election. Plain and simple. That's an election. That's one of the election deniers. There are many more, but that's the one we're talking about right now.
right.
I mean,
so
Hillary Clinton is election denier. Okay, we
Right.
can go down that road too. Okay,
Stacey
but right now,
Abrams is election denier.
Stacey Abrams is election denier.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but right now we're talking about Trump. That's what and his people who won't admit that he lost. Those are what I'm talking about. Election deniers, right there.
So my
there's a
my
woman-
statement to
Go
my
ahead,
brother was, my statement to my brother was like, look, I think that Trump won, right? But the reality is that Joe Biden got sworn in as president, and there's not a freaking thing you can do about it, right? I still believe that Trump won. I think that there's and Biden won by a very small margin in all these states, and I think it was very easy for them to make up those numbers, especially with this bullshit, ballot harvesting and mail-in ballots and dead people voting and all this other crap that's been going on for the last 5
There's
years. So.
it's been almost 2 years, and there's not any. There's evidence that something happened. There's not enough evidence to say that something huge happened. Okay.
Well, the reality is you don't know because nobody's investigating. This is the thing
No,
I
I
was
do
telling my
know
brother
there's
the
no
other day.
evidence.
No,
I do
you
know that
don't.
there's
You
no
don't
evidence.
know.
I
You
do
don't
know.
know. 'Cause
There's no evidence.
No, you're
there was, somebody
speculating
would-
that there's no
No,
evidence. You're speculating there's no evidence.
I'm saying
Yes,
there
you
is
are.
no evidence. Now could
But you
someone
have no
find
evidence
some-
to prove that.
Can you
have no
find-
evidence
could
to
some-
prove.
I do have evidence to prove it. Nobody has come forward with any evidence that says that there's a huge
There have
gap
been
here.
several people that have come forward with evidence.
No
that just
one
nobody likes.
reputable.
Nobody,
No one that
yeah,
hasn't been
they're
disproven.
They're not
Anybody can say it.
reputable. Yeah,
Anybody
yeah,
can
so,
say it.
yeah.
Anybody can say it. Okay, that doesn't make
So-
it true.
So the bottom
Okay.
line is this: my brother and I are very argumentative about this, but the reality of the
We
bottom
still
line
love
is
each
this,
other though.
Is exactly
For
is
now.
for now. If you because like I was at a customer's the other day, and the owner of the shop is very liberal, and one of his workers is very conservative, and they started this little bickering argument, right? And I basically, he's like, well, because I told him my brother and I had this conversation about election deniers, so they started and they're bickering about it, right? But he said what I thought was very interesting. He said, "Well, who's to say that Donald Trump wasn't cheating? Who's to say the Republicans weren't cheating?" He goes, "I go, do you think they were?" He goes, "Absolutely, think they're fucking cheating." So I said, "Okay, so." Isn't that all the more reason for us to do a thorough investigation of what the hell happened? And you can prove
Yes.
once and for all either there was voter fraud or there wasn't voter fraud. You can't change the voter election regardless right now. Joe Biden's already been sworn in. It's been 2 years as president. So I'm not asking for them to overturn the election. What I'm asking for is a legitimate, honest investigation into what the hell went on. And not this January 6th bullshit.
No, January 6th is bullshit. That's fucking crazy.
But
I
actually,
digress there. I'm sorry.
yeah, actually investigating what's going on. Like Pennsylvania, take for an example, right? So they have a constitution that says the only person that can overturn their voting laws is their House and their Senate, their Congress. And the governor decided, well, because of COVID, we're going to change the voting laws. Like, wait a minute, you don't have the right and ability to do that. And they let them, right? So there's a problem with that. There's a huge problem with that when that happens, right? So and that's what governors were doing. They're doing under the guise of COVID, right?
Yeah.
But look, our Constitution stands whether there's COVID, there's a wartime, there's insurrection, whatever there is, our Constitution stands. And if we stand up and fight for it, then we can say, you know what, enough is enough.
And here, you know me, Jeff. When COVID first hit, I was like, you know what? They got to do what they got to do. But looking back, I got to change my mind on that. I got to say,
Right.
look,
Right.
if this happens again and they tell us we can't go to a movie theater, they tell us we can't worship, I'm going to double Johnny Cash him and I'm going to go to jail. You fucking people can't tell us what to do anymore.
Right.
And that's
Because you
the way
don't
it
have the
is.
right.
Because you overstepped your boundaries the one
Right.
time we told you could. And this is
Right.
freaking crazy. And so now you get no boundaries. Okay.
Right.
It's the Constitution and that's it. So,
Right.
I digress.
So just so you know, when this was going on, my brother and I were arguing about this because I'm like,
Pretty
wait a minute,
constantly, actually.
we have a constitution. They can't do this under the Constitution. They can't mandate this shit to happen because we have a constitution. They can't shut down churches because we have a First Amendment right.
Wayne
First
Fair
Amendment-
finally made it. Hi, Wayne.
yeah.
How's it going?
The
James
First Amendment
Dickerson, too.
isn't
Sorry,
about freedom of speech only, right?
No.
When we get to the First Amendment, you're going to realize that it's about freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom of religion, right?
Yeah.
And it says the Congress can make no laws to establish a religion or prevent
We'll
the
get to
establishment
that. We'll
thereof,
get to
right?
that. Yeah,
But-
let's not
so-
jump ahead.
Right, but I'm just saying these are the things that my brother and I was arguing with my brother. I'm like, look, they are violating our constitutional rights and nobody cares, right? And that
Right.
and I heard so many people like, well, we don't know what's going on with the pandemic, and we're trying. It's like, no, bullshit. The more that we let them violate our rights, the more that they're going to take away from us, and we're starting to see it now, right?
Yeah.
So
And
here
we
we
like
are.
some comments from people too. There's a bunch of people on right now, and just send us
Yeah.
your comments. We'll read them out and we'll discuss them. Me and my brother agree on this one topic I'm going to bring up next, which will be very argumentative, I'm sure, is I believe that it's time for Trump to go away. That's what I believe. And I believe the people have spoken. And I think he's dragging the Republican Party down now because of, and, and, and I'm not going to call them the megas because when Trump made the mega statement, it was a good thing. It was
Make America great.
He's going to bring business and jobs back to America. Right. That's when he said it. But it's become this stupid ass thing that people mega. You know what?
You might want to read Tim's comment.
Tim, I believe the Dems cheated. Well, that's what I was going to say. So when Jeff was saying, the guy said, I think Trump cheated. You know what? He may have. But I'm going to say this. Out of all the cheating that we can absolutely say happened, not one of them benefited a Republican. Right. Every single one of them benefited Democrat. So something's going on. And this is what I say. There's a little bit of proof. And I'm hoping that people are investigating this. And the Republicans aren't investigating this. They're stupid. Okay, anyways, back to
and this is another area that my brother and I disagree with because he always says, well, if there's proof, then the Republicans should be investigated. I'm like, look, I don't think the Republicans are going to investigate it because they don't really give a shit, the ones that are in charge, right? The other ones, like you look at like Jim Jordan and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, and those people are like, look, there's something wrong. We need to investigate that. And people like Turtleneck, what's his name? Anyway, what the hell is his name? He's from
Kentucky.
For
the Dos DeSantis from Florida. Does? What do you mean, Wayne?
So he's probably talking about he thinks it's time for DeSantis to be the leading candidate for the Republican Party. And Rick made a statement. I didn't reply yet, but basically I totally disagree with my brother. I think that Donald Trump is ahead of the Republican Party, whether you like it or not. And Hillary Clinton saying that the Republicans need to get a backbone and get rid of Trump. She can go pound sand. The Democrats.
Hillary Clinton. I'm not saying this because of Hillary Clinton. Because Hillary Clinton, I just smack her in the face. Just look at her. She's one of the biggest crooks that ever ran for freaking president.
Right. Right, but the Democrat Party doesn't tell the Republican Party how to do it. And
I'm in it. You know what though? Here, I decided this today. When I get to Tennessee,
you decide whatever you want. You have freedom of speech. So there you go.
When I get to Tennessee, and I get my house in Tennessee, and I change my license over to Tennessee, I'm becoming a Republican.
It's not going to happen, Wayne. Just saying.
Wayne says DeSantis.
Wayne says DeSantis 2024.
Wayne, we can only hope because I truly believe Trump is dragging the party down, and I truly believe if these people that got nominated weren't supported by Trump, that more of them would have got elected.
I think that's bullshit.
And I'm gonna go to the woman in California, Lauren Boebert. How do you say? I don't know how you say her name. She's a congresswoman in Boebert, and she was predicted, and she's an election denier. Okay, and she was predicted to win. It was supposed to be an easy win. They haven't decided it yet. It's so close, and she's a teeny bit ahead. But that right there tells me people are sick of election deniers. And if Trump can't get his freaking shit together and say, you know what, they're right, I lost, okay, then he should just bow out and not go in because he will not get elected again if he doesn't do that. That's my opinion.
Well, I think you're wrong. So I think when he runs in 2024, he's going to win by a landslide unless the Democrats
you thought it was going to be big red wave this time too. So how do you like them apples?
Yeah, but you got to understand that you look at the polls and the voting, the shit that's going on. It's like why can't they count the votes? I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Jeff. I'm laughing at Tim.
So you're laughing at me, you lying fucking.
No, look at Tim. He says he'll be the vice president for DeSantis.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wait, no, it's not DeSantis. What does Trump call him?
DeSanctimonious.
DeSanctimonious. That's what it is. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Regardless of what I think about Donald Trump, I think Ron DeSantis is an amazing guy, right? And the reality is, if both of them go into the election like they did in 2016, when he beat the other 16 candidates on the stage, then we're going to find out where Ron DeSantis stands and where Donald
Well,
Trump stands, and we'll see
here's
who wins the fray, because
here.
all that's going to do is strengthen the Republican Party. And if
No, I
Donald
think
Trump
it's going to weaken it.
loses, oh, if Donald Trump loses, like you say,
What
then that's
what's
fine.
the first
I don't
thing
care.
our Alzheimer president said when he heard that DeSantis might run and Trump might they run? Well, let him fight it out.
I didn't hear that. The only thing I heard was when he said he heard how the vote went. He's like, "Well, I'm going to run again in 2024." I'm like,
Well, yeah,
"Good
it was right in
Lord,
that
let it
same one
go."
that they asked
Yeah.
him, "What about DeSantis and Trump?" He goes, "Let him fight it out."
Yeah,
I'd like
Tim,
to. I'd like
Dems
to
are
see it.
wacky, including my brother.
Come on, Rick. The Dems. Tim, I can't deny it. I cannot
Right.
deny it. I'm a Democrat and I can't deny it. And like I said, I'm gonna be a Republican before the year's out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, that'll be surprising. But what's funny about that is my nephew, who talks to my brother, is like, "Dad, you've changed," and he's like, "No, the Democrat Party has left me. They're not even in
Your
my
nephew,
sight
who you
anymore."
mean my son? My
Yes,
son talks to me.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
my
I
son
don't
is
want to
telling.
bring him up by name, but we might as well at this
Yeah,
point in time. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, he's old enough. He's got his own opinion, And
yeah, yeah,
but he says that. He says that I've changed. I've changed. I said, no, I haven't changed. The
right,
Democrat Party has changed.
right,
And Bill Maher even said this. He goes,
right.
the people are dogging him about it. Biden is dementia poster child. He certainly is. But
Yeah,
our borders would be fixed if he was president.
Donald Trump was president. You're absolutely right. He would have finished building the wall, and
Well,
the people would still be
either
staying in
him or
Mexico.
DeSantis, the border's going to be fixed. That's the way I look at it. And matter of fact, any Republican gets elected, the borders will be fixed.
No, there's some Republicans out there.
Well,
like
except for that,
you don't want
except for
Turtle to
Liz
be
Cheney
elected
or
then.
whatever.
Oh, she's no longer a Republican. So she's
She's still a Republican.
No, she's out. She's out of the public.
She's just not. She's just not in not anywhere. But she might
Hey,
run for president. You never know.
yeah, she can try. She's not even making it on stage.
Her and Fetterman, they'll run against.
That would be a comedy. That would be comedy. Of course, she said that she was going to go vote for Fetterman to make sure that Oz didn't win or whatever. She's going to go, stand shoulder to shoulder
not
with
the
a
sharpest
Democrat.
knife in the drawer. That's all I.
Well,
gotta
she's
say.
a warmonger like her dad.
And before she did this thing, and I got to give her props for it. She truly believed Trump should be impeached. You got to stick by your belief. Now you're going to pay the price for that belief. But she stuck by
thankfully.
But before that, she was high up in the Republicans. She was pretty high up. And so now she's nowhere. But there's that. So
yeah. Well, I mean, she's high up in the Republican Party because she was a Cheney, right? I mean, think about it. She's a congresswoman.
Carol
from
Eaton is
Wyoming.
on now too. Hey, Carol.
Stop.
Yeah,
she was.
And I'm sure that had something to do with it. I'm sure, but she had some high-ranking position too. It wasn't just like,
well, yeah, because her dad was in high-ranking in security, and the had the companies and businesses that were in the whole war machine. So, she's working for her dad basically. So
yeah. So we got a few more days before we're going to find out who wins the election, and I told everybody I was hoping for the Republicans to take the Senate and the Congress so I can start looking forward to the demise of our democracy.
Oh, it's going to happen.
And it may still happen, but I got to wait now. I just can't start saying, "Oh, tomorrow's our day our democracy dies," and keep going on until it actually happens. But
well, see, so my thought is this: they're saying that democracy is on the ballot. Democracy can die if there's a red wave. Blah blah blah. So they didn't have quite the red wave that they were expecting, but they're still took over the House and the Senate. Probably,
and that's not for sure yet, but it's a problem.
It is. It isn't for sure, but it's probably so. But
it's
what
probable,
I'm saying though is, and it may only be by 51 votes, maybe 52. But I mean, I think the most I ever heard it was going to be was 53. So it's not like they're that far off anyway.
Well, no, but I mean, Congress hasn't even been decided yet. That's probable,
right?
But
because everyone's slow walking counting the votes because they don't want
we got to figure out our loser speeches or something. I don't know what that. Yeah.
So,
but anyways, if it happens, I will every day post on Facebook, "Is today the day our democracy dies?" Oh, I remember what I was thinking too. They had that survey where 75% of the people that were surveyed thought our democracy was there was a threat to our democracy. Okay,
Right.
but that was both Republicans and Democrats. So the Republicans think the Democrats are a threat to our democracy, and the Democrats think the Republicans are a threat to our democracy. So
It's the
it's just,
same
and this is what I'm
shit,
saying.
different
That's what I'm
day.
saying.
So yeah.
The people are screaming loud from the left and the far right, and they're the ones that get in
Yeah,
the,
it's
get in
not
the
a
grease. It's just,
a far right person that's saying the Democrats have gone off the rails. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that these guys are off the rails. You
well,
can
yeah,
say,
you're right there.
oh, you're a far right.
I hate to admit you're
No,
right, brother, but you're right.
you're not even right. You're saying they're off the rails. So, there's a problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not just the far right that are claiming that these people have gone off the rails. I mean, you gotta ask yourself. You have to ask yourself, how does Fetterman get elected? I mean, this guy is like, he can't even talk. I mean, God bless the guy. He's got he's had a stroke.
Yeah, but Oprah backed him, so he's got to be good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, so Wayne says, I agree with Rick. Dems have gone way left. The only way to bring them around is to get new blood. And that's part of the problem is we don't have term limits. It really is.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about new blood, just talk about AOC and Rashid Tlaib, and
well, what they really need is a good spanking. And by spanking, I mean just they lose everything. They lose everything. And I don't even know if that'll do it right now, because in reality, when Trump was elected, the first, when he was elected, I thought that would teach the Democrats a lesson. You guys got to quit going down this road.
Oh no,
you freaking lost an election that Hillary was predicted to win by 15 points or something like that. I mean, and you lost it. You should rethink your thought process there. No, they just doubled down. No, we'll just go further left.
Because, and you know why? Because they're election deniers. They didn't think that Trump win. They think that he colluded with Russia. They cheated.
Well, they were election
blah,
deniers.
blah, blah.
They certainly were.
Right. So it's 4 years of that, and then suddenly Trump loses, and he's an election denier, and then, that's the front page news.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
I told my sister, she was a Stacey Abrams fan, because she thinks the Georgia laws were Jim Crow 2.0 for election, which is bullshit, by the way. And it's proven this. Anyways, I digress. She
Not that he has a strong feeling on this at all.
She's an election denier. Well, that was before she's changed her mind. I go, I don't care if it was before she changed her mind. She did it for freaking 3 years before she said, well, you can't find me saying that anymore.
2 years. 2 years. She did it for 2 years. Then she ran again.
2 years. I'm sorry. So I exaggerate all the time because that's what I do. So.
Which I'm not really sure how that worked, because if he just ran for governor 2 years ago, I thought governor positions were 4 years. So
was it a special election for that one? Like somebody quit or something, maybe?
It's a special election for
it was Fetterman,
senator for Pennsylvania. Special.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh. Anyways. So anyways, the Georgia, the Jim Crow 2.0 laws that were supposed to keep the minorities from voting, they got a record turnout for our minorities. Well, then Stacey Abrams says, well, just because there's a lot of people voting doesn't mean it's still not racist.
Right. Wayne says,
if you say it enough, it must be true. That's what these people think.
Yeah. Wayne says, get her a new flavor of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah. She needs that kind that they took down at that, the Jim Jones camp. That Kool-Aid.
Jim Jones in Ghana or wherever that was. Yeah.
Was that in Texas too?
No, that was in another country.
Oh, that was in
it's
Columbia
interesting.
Like that. They started in Pennsylvania and they went to Columbia. Yeah. Yeah.
What's interesting about that is there was a senator from a United States congressman or senator that went down there to check it out, and they killed him before he got his plane. I'm like, I mean, that in and of itself is an act of war. And maybe that's why they decided we're going to kill everybody, because the U.S. is going to come down hard on us because we just killed one of their congressmen. So it's like, I don't know, and I just think fanatics on either side are a bunch of wackos, right? And I can be pretty fanatic myself, but it's like I'm not like, hey, come follow me, worship me. I'm bow to the ground I walk on or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is just yeah, it's never gonna happen. No, there's only one savior. His name is Jesus Christ.
Absolutely, brother. So
So
God
there's,
bless.
there's not going to be anybody other than that, and this is another thing that we don't really talk a lot about, but we probably should. God has a plan for our country, for our world, and no matter what we do to either support it or deny it or to fight it, His plan is still going to happen, right? So
Yeah.
something that a lot of people don't understand is, and I've told my brother this before, is in Revelation, it talks about how Jesus Christ is going to rule and reign on planet Earth after the 7-year tribulation for 1,000 years. So there's not a dang thing that anybody in America or any other country in the United States or a country other than the United States can do to degrade this great world that we live on. Because if Jesus Christ is going to establish His throne on here for 1,000 years, then it's going to be totally in existence. There's nothing they can do to stop it from happening.
Right.
It's been written down. It's going to happen. So I mean, these global warmists and global warming people and these green people and all this other people, they're trying to save the planet. Which I find funny because on one hand they say that the planet's billions of years old, right? But we're going to somehow kill the planet in the next 20 years. It's like,
Yeah.
it's been
No,
around
that's to
for
get China money for the batteries. That's all I can say.
There you go.
But
Yeah,
Kim says
but
amen,
yeah,
brother. And I just noticed that Graham Ambrose was on. So, hey, Graham, how's it going? Yeah. Yeah. Jeff and I both agree. We should do things to keep our air cleaner.
right.
Do better
Yep.
there. But you can't shut down the whole economy to do it because
Well, you can.
you could if the whole world did it. Okay. The problem is we're the only ones doing it, and China's going to eat our lunch because of it. Okay, in India, and they're the biggest polluters in the world. They're just not making any difference.
right.
So we got to make
And what's
steps, and we got to try to be better. But we don't need to, we can't go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. You just can't do it.
right.
And
what's funny is they shut down oil drilling in the United States. They're realizing that the American people don't like that because the cost of fuel is going up. So now they're
Mhm.
begging Venezuela and the Saudis to produce more oil. It's like,
then
they're
they come up
still
with this.
getting oil out
The
of the
oil
ground,
companies
just like
make
we
the
were
oil
gonna
companies make record profits. Record profits. It's the oil companies' fault. Well, you know what? Here's the thing about the oil companies. They're not gonna drill in the U.S. when you're telling them you're gonna put them out of business.
right.
They're not gonna do it.
And Joe
You
just
can
said that
call them
last
all the
weekend.
names you want.
Right.
They're just not
He
gonna.
just said that last week. He's going to shut down coal plants
I
and he's going
know.
to stop drilling.
Yeah.
It's like,
why would they do it?
Yeah, why would they do it at all? There's no
Because
reason for them.
Because you want them to drill now so that you can win an election, and as
Right.
soon as the election's over, you're going to put back the stuff that's keeping them from drilling now.
Right.
It's ridiculous, and this is what the Democrats need a big slap in the mouth. They really do, because this is bullcrap. They're acting like this.
I think a red wave would have done that, but apparently there's not going to be a red wave.
Well,
There's
and like I
gonna
said, I
definitely
think
be
I
a
think the
change in
reason
the
for that
guard,
is
so.
that there's too
Mitch
many.
McConnell, that's Turtle. That's the turtleneck guy. Mitch McConnell.
Well, he said
he said
minority
he said
he said Mitch McConnell said candidates count. The quality of a candidate counts. And
and if they don't groom them right, then they're not going to get because Mitch McConnell had, I don't know, like $180 million in his war chest that he didn't spend hardly any of it on people like.
Well, Trump didn't spend any either, so you can go down the road for anybody. They didn't spend enough money. There's plenty of money spent, brother. I mean, come on.
Well, as I was going to say,
Before I interrupted you.
Mitch McConnell has a huge war chest of money that if he really wanted to take control of the Senate, he could have dumped a bunch of money into all these states to win Senate seats. And he didn't. He chose not to, right? There are some Senate seats that he put money into and some Senate seats he didn't. But again, now we're talking about a guy who you can look it up and it's hard to find, but it's available, who during the Tea Party era, after the Tea Party came into power, the next time there was an election in 2 years from the first time the Tea Party came into power, he said he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that there wasn't another Tea Party candidate would win an election. So it's like, here's a guy that has, I mean, and you know, my brother said the Tea Party is extreme right wing or whatever. I don't really agree with that. But you have
They
people
are.
that believe in the Constitution, they believe in the freedom of speech, they believe in the freedoms of our laws, and they want to uphold the laws of the nation. And they wanted America to be great again before Donald Trump made Make America Great Again. And
So I
that
got to
was
say
their goal.
this. When I first heard the Tea Party name, I thought, hey, this could be good. And then I didn't think so good. Same as when I first heard the progressive name for the Democrats. I thought, wow, these guys could be good. Well, they suck too. And my personal feeling is the progressives came because of the Tea Party. They were the answer to the Tea Party. The problem is the progressives are staying. The Tea Party's gone. So there's no, and that's why I think that that people bitch so much about the farther right people, because you're getting these farther right people, and you almost got to have someone far right to combat the far left. So and like I said, I'm hoping in this election that both sides can see that they don't want far right and they don't want far left.
Well, you know why the Tea Party's not around, right?
Well, hang on. The problem is
I don't want to hang on.
both the far right and the far left are stupid, and they probably won't see this. And why isn't the Tea Party around? Because they got voted out. They got left
No,
out
because Lois Lerner, who was I forgot what she is. She was in charge of the IRS during the Obama era. She prevented them from filing for 501(c)(3)s and getting nonprofit status. So all these organizations that were trying to file as a nonprofit, as a Tea Party organization, she prevented them from filing and said that she wasn't going to give them the ability to do that. So they basically just got their feet cut right out from under them from the federal government. So that's one of the reasons why the Tea Party disappeared, because
so you're
everyone that
saying
was trying to,
because they couldn't get the nonprofit, they couldn't raise money. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, because I mean, any of these political parties, they do it as a nonprofit organization. They raise funds for their candidates so that they fall under the nonprofit organization. So
they were trying to raise money outside of the Republican Party for just the Tea Party. That's what they're
right. Any candidate you look at is going to have like a super PAC or whatever, and they have to file for a nonprofit status in order to raise money for their candidate and to, be able to spend the money on their candidates. So
right.
I'm not an expert on that, but I do know for a fact that Lois Lerner was involved in preventing Tea Party organizations from getting the nonprofit status to be able to do fundraising.
And who was Lois Lerner? What was her?
She was the head of the IRS during the Obama years, if I remember correctly.
Okay,
So,
I'll have to look that up and do some research on that and get back to you on my opinion. You know how that works. So.
yeah, he'll come across some article that says Lois Lerner didn't do that, and Snopes proved it wrong. So therefore, he'll believe that it didn't happen. So
that's not exactly how it works, but yeah, we'll go down that road. So.
Lois Gale Lerner is an American attorney and former United States federal civil service employee. Lerner became director of the exempt organizations unit of the Internal Revenue Service in 2005 and subsequently became the central figure in 2013 IRS where'd it go? Targeting controversy in the targeting of politically aligned groups, either denying them tax exempt status outright or delaying that status until they could no longer take effective part in the 2012 election.
Right.
So that's on Wikipedia. Because Wikipedia must be true.
Well, it must be true because all Wikipedia is true, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not like I can edit it right now or anything. So
I don't know. You probably looked that up a year ago and we've been waiting to use it. That's all I got to say.
No, I just looked it up right now. I just typed in.
I know, brother. It was a joke. It was a joke. Okay.
Oh, you're full of
shit. Yeah, I know. That's what I do. I'm full of shit. Well, I think we're getting near the end here. We're running out of stuff. If anybody has any comments, they want to talk about something, let us know. Hey, and if anybody would like to get on the show, let us know and we will put you on. We want to apologize again for getting booted off because we're pretty sure it's because we played Whitney Houston's Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
So we won't be doing that anymore, even though we love it. We just figured we do it for Veterans Day. because it's a great Star Spangled Banner. There's no doubt about it. But
It
we're
is.
pretty sure that's why they kicked us off the first time we had to restart. So we won't be doing that again. Anybody wants to get on, you let us know. Me and my brother argue a lot like this, back and forth, and we still love each other, and we
Not
don't
really,
hold
but
grudges, and we'll be respectful to anybody who wants to get on. You be respectful to us, and we'll be respectful to you. But we really like to get some other people on. Wayne's been on here. Nancy Pelosi is going to step down regardless of what happens in the next few days. That's what I'm kind of thinking. Yeah, I probably agree with that,
maybe.
Wayne.
Yeah.
Because I think she's looking for that job in Italy near the vineyards.
Yeah,
The whatever.
what is it, state position.
Yeah,
What they got.
yeah, because she's
Here we go.
107 years old. I mean, she can't do the job anymore. She just needs to
She
drink
is-
wine and sit.
She is not 107 years old. She's
Well,
old, but
okay.
she's not 107
You know,
years
I
old.
exaggerate sometimes. brother.
And I'm not a very big fan of Nancy Pelosi. So
Wayne there,
so
ha ha ha.
yeah.
He says, no,
Yeah,
she's not
so-
quite 107. And if you go by how many facelifts she had, she's probably whatever.
Facelifts and boob lifts, but
Well, she's had a few facelifts for sure. If you look at her
husband.
you just
keep
look at
his
her
hands off
eyebrows.
the-
It's like, wow, that's dangerous looking. Holy
It
cow!
didn't help her husband keep his hands off the local population. Just saying.
Just saying. Not that we're
I mean,
conspiracy theorists, but
Why else
know.
would there be a younger man in his underwear in his foyer? Because
Hmm.
uh,
Let me think. I don't know. But anyways, we
So back to the Star Spangled Banner. I just want to read this for a second because I'm every time I hear the song sung, usually by no matter who sings it, it totally brings a tear to my eye, and it makes me think about what was going on when we were fighting for our independence. There, he says, "Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming." So on the night before, when the twilight was gleaming, they saw the flag, and in the morning they saw the flag again. But throughout the night, they were bombs bursting in air, and
they were pummeling
the
it.
ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming the stripes of our flag. And the fact
Right.
that the men of that fort kept the flag standing so that they could say that we are not going to back down and we are not going to let you take control. And the guy who wrote this, the Star Spangled Banner, he was actually on one of the ships that was pummeling the fort with bombs bursting in there and stuff. So he was watching from the ship that was basically trying to beat the crap out of the American people. And this is what he wrote,
Right.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in the air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. And we are
Yeah.
Americans, and we have a flag, and we stand for our flag. And we need to stand together as Americans to stand for what's right in our nation, whether you're Republican or Democrat, left or right, liberal or conservative. We should be Americans first and trying to fight for what's right for Americans and for all people in America, not just a select group, right? Because one of the things that happened in the pandemic or plandemic or whatever you want to call it is the rich became a lot richer and the poor became a lot poorer, right?
Mhm.
So that was because they shut down all the businesses. A lot of businesses
Right.
went out of business,
Yes.
because they wouldn't let them do business, So
And that's why if this ever happens again, we all need to stand together and say, F you government, we're not
Right.
shutting down.
Right.
And everybody should stand with the businesses that don't. Come arrest us all.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are you
exactly.
gonna do when everybody's in jail?
Yeah.
Cowards.
Yeah, well, that's a problem. There were a bunch of cowards in our country at that point in time, and I mean, I was calling for men to stand up, and I worked throughout the whole thing. I was considered a
So did I.
necessary business, because I was going to people's houses and supporting their at-home IT selections, services, and stuff like that.
I had the great job of
So-
Walmart.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, didn't Walmart shut down for a while?
No, they never shut down. They were open 24/7.
Oh, that's right, because they were open. Yeah,
They were open 24/7, and they closed. They only opened 7 to 11 after that. But yeah, they were open. They never
one of
shut
the
down.
rich that got richer.
Oh,
Walmart,
absolutely.
Walmart, Costco.
Because they shut down
Yeah.
all the other like Kmart and
Yeah.
any of those stores that didn't sell groceries couldn't stay open. So all the
Right.
department stores had to close.
Yeah, that's really sad. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so does the Star Spangled Banner yet wave? It does wave. We
Does
still
wave.
have a waving flag over our country and our nation, and Wayne said he had to stay retired.
I've had 4 jobs since I retired, Wayne. I just worked for a little while and I'm tired and I quit for a while. So yeah. 2 of them were at Tractor Supply and 2 of them were at Walmart. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. So
All right, man. Well, it's been 54 minutes, and we did like 20 minutes previously. So we really thank you. We want to thank our service members, for
Especially
the
service
sacrifices that they
on this
gave
day.
on this Veterans Day. We are just amazingly proud of you, and we're very thankful for you. Thank you for our police officers and our firefighters and our first responders. We greatly appreciate you, and we appreciate all the effort and sacrifices you do for our country. So
Yeah,
God
man,
bless you, and God bless everyone.
God bless everybody. God bless everybody. God bless everybody. Wayne Thayer's final comment is, I've been thinking about getting a part-time job, but I haven't left the house yet to go find one. Love
Still
it,
stuck
Wayne.
at home with COVID pandemic. All right,
Yeah.
God bless you all. Have a great night.
Good show, Joe Palazzo.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Joe.
much.
All right,
God bless
you.
everybody and good night.
Good night.